Greetings from Podcastville. It's Monday, the 13th of fucking January 2020, and you're still sitting there thinking to myself, what am I going to do with my life? I'll tell you what the fuck you're going to do. You're going to listen to the church of what's happening now. Kick this motherfucking Mule Lee. Oh, there ain't no music no more. They won't let us on Spotify without music. Here's my man, Tom Rhodes. I got the Christ Killer. It's Monday morning. What the fuck you want from me? How are you, Tom?
Joey, how are you, my brother?
My brother. Great time at the Comedy Store Saturday night.
Oh, my God. That was probably one of the best lineups. It was me. I think that was probably one of the best sets I've ever done at the Comedy Store.
Yeah, you were on fire.
I crushed it.
You were on fire.
And then Neil Brennan.
Neil Brennan destroyed.
Oh, my God. He's got like so much brilliant new material about...
That dude's a writer and a half.
It's impressive to see, how he turns it over and his thought process. It's a lot of philosophy and social commentary. Just absolutely brilliant.
Did you hang out for the rest of the night? Or?
Yeah, a little bit. And I watched your set. You crushed it. You're doing new material I've never seen you do before.
You got to try it.
I love it. That's the exciting thing about playing there is like you see the best of the best. And it makes you want to raise your game,
That's why I kept going there, because you see what other guys are doing, and you're like, that's how hard I got to be working. So it's a constant rotation. Fuck work. How's life?
Good, man. And I did a show last Wednesday in Palm Springs for some old white people. I don't know why I took this gig. And I ate one of the biggest shit sandwiches I've eaten in quite a few years. And, they just said, don't do any political stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. But apparently some of my regular jokes were too hard for these people. And so that set I did at the Comedy Store on Saturday, if you have like a bad set as a comedian, it just stays in your head and you can't erase it until you crush it. So like I was washing that stink off me on that stage. Every joke that killed, I was just getting in the crevices. And
was it a private?
Yeah, it was just a gig that I had no business being a part of.
Did the promoter make a bad call? I mean,
yeah.
What do you think that happens in those gigs? Because I don't take privates.
It wasn't a private gig. I don't do private gigs either. And I noticed, I don't do cruise ships. I don't want to play anywhere where there's old white people that are going to get upset by anything.
Well, that's everywhere now.
Yeah,
that's everywhere. Yeah, people are going out. People are going out with the whatever, but it has slowed down a little bit over the last couple of weeks. Thank God for Ricky Gervais going off Sunday night to let people know that you still got a voice. Okay, we still got a voice. You know what? If they want to cancel your TV show, we don't have one. If they want to cancel my Twitter account, I'll keep telling jokes.
Right.
So we're in a society right now that we're not going to stop. The Comedy Store is not going to shut down.
Right.
None of the other clubs are going to shut down. So you have to say that's what comedy is. It's the truth. It's the truth. So that's what are you scared of? Hearing the fucking
comedy
truth?
Is a dark room where adults go to hear the uncomfortable truths.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
When I saw those people at the Grammys, the Golden Globes, they were fucking moving in their chair. That means a comic did his job. And the people that had a sense of humor, they were laughing. They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's what happens is you're at a table with 6 guys. Tom Hanks is at that table. I'm not allowed to laugh. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Hanks, with that long head of yours.
He said Scorsese wasn't tall enough to ride. How much time are you spending at amusement park?
Yeah.
He's not tall enough to ride the ride.
Felicity Hoffman license plate, all that shit.
So funny.
That's brilliant shit. And then at the end, he said something that you want to tell people every day. And you can't, because that's how I know I live my life. I know that half of these people walk around with 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and they brag to you about the 1 foot in, about how good of people they are. They donate to fucking this, they do this, but then they have this other leg in this fucking destruction mode where their employees are jumping out fucking windows, and, fucking
the line about ISIS having a streaming service was the best.
And you know what? And then that line.
What was the Jeffrey Epstein line? That was funny too.
God damn it.
He said something about it and he was talking about his
you have to take your own private plane today.
But look at even the fucking ISIS line. The ISIS line is a joke. But to you people listening at the house, it's not a joke. These people will eat a scab off a dog's knee. They don't give a fuck. They really don't give a fuck. You know, he made a Harvey Weinstein joke or something. There's
That was it. He said it was like it was something about Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein, wasn't it?
Well, Epstein was. He said that he'd rather be. This is the last time he's doing it. That you'd much rather be watching. That Netflix is. Everybody's streaming. Television dead. Movies dead. Everybody's streaming. Everybody's talking about Netflix. That his show is on Netflix about a guy who's thinking of killing himself after his wife dies of cancer. He goes, spoiler alert. He doesn't kill himself. Just like Jeffrey Epstein.
That was it.
And he goes, oh, I know. He was your friend. I don't care. You know? And then he goes, you had to get your own flight here tonight. And that's the truth. You know, listen, even in comedy. Okay, you were around for Kennison, or we're not.
I was a kid. I mean, I was in high school, and I
okay. So you weren't at the
I went
store.
and saw... No. But I saw Kennison when I was... 16. I was such a fan. I bought a ticket by myself. I went to the Tupperware Theater in Orlando and sat there and watched him.
But my point is that if you knew Kennison, like I didn't know Kennison, but I see it now on smaller scales. There's always that one rich guy at the Comedy Store that's his parents are filthy rich. Nobody knows about it. He just goes up there, and since his comedy isn't up to par, he becomes something else. He has to lure them in with something else, you know. And when you could see that Jeffrey Epstein was just one of those guys that hobnobbed against big-time people, and then, take my jet, come to my island, you know. It became like a fucking joke. There's people like that creep into your circle, and they're called, what are those people that if you eat cake, they give you cake? What are those
enablers?
Enablers. They're really like fucking enablers, like you know. And it was weird that when he said it, he struck a chord with all those people. Jeffrey Epstein would be at all those parties mingling. They all knew who the fuck he was, you know. They all knew what was going on with Harvey Weinstein, what he was doing. They all knew, but they didn't give a fuck. Nobody raised their fucking hand. We live in a town where if we raise our hand, we lose our career. We care more about our pocketbook. You don't think anybody knew Harvey Weinstein was fucking broads or getting his dick sucked for movies? You're going to look me in the face and say that? You know those particular type of guys? They're like frat boy guys that you go to their parties and their girlfriends are there, but they're in a circle on their own, talking about the chicks they're banging on the side and all that shit. That's what those Jeffrey Epstein parties were. As soon as you walked in, Jeffrey would put his arm around you right in front of your wife, walk you away and go, excuse me, I need to just talk to him. And she's like, oh, aren't I impressed? And also he's like, wait till you see the 16-year-old pussy I got waiting for you in the back today. I knew guys like that. I didn't hang out with them because of those reasons, but I know people like that. They just creep. That's how they got cool. You know, invite a bunch of 40-year-olds to fuck a bunch of 18-year-olds. Who makes you cooler than that? If I called you right now and said, come over to the house, and you came over to my house, and I had 3 18-year-olds in the back with a couple lines of Coke, and all of a sudden you get there, and you're like, who are they? And they're like, we're going to be in Joey's new movie. There ain't no movie. What movie you talking? And you look at me like, really? Yeah. We're talking to Leonardo DiCaprio right now as we speak, and they're like, oh, we're going to work with Leo. Come on, do a line. Take the top slow. Let's get the party started. That's what it is. You're going to tell me you didn't know about those parties? You're going to look me in the Matt Damon didn't know about those? Brad Pitt didn't know about those? Leonardo DiCaprio didn't know about those? I'm not mad at them. I would have probably gone to those too.
Or taken the $20 million for the movie.
Or, you know what I'm saying? So we live in the worst, you know, I used to love to call, I'll tell you a guy, Mark Babbitt. Because
I love Babbitt. And Babbitt worked you and I together. You and I met because Babbitt booked us together.
But I got into a point with Babbitt where I would just call him to say hello. And I would get off the phone. I would never ask him for work. Because I always wanted people Even today in comedy, there's a guy that gave me my first Wednesday in Brea. His name is Dan. He's out of the improv organization, but guess what? I still call him once a month because I know no other comedians call that guy.
Yeah. Once
you're out of a position to put money in my pocket, we don't need you no more. I think that's a horrible. I think whoever raised you did a bad job.
Yeah.
I think that, and I don't do that with people. Even after somebody leaves a club, if they took care of me, I try to call them once a fucking year. I still call the bowler from San Jose. They used to have a manager on the weekends. He was a professional bowler. He just gave up and moved to Vegas. I still check in with him once a year to let him know that all those spots he gave me weren't in vain.
Well, I told you before we started recording, like a year ago at this time, I was going through my divorce. I had just broken up. My wife and I had just broken up. And you're one of the few friends that called me, like every week, how you doing? You're not thinking about drinking, are you? And I tell you, it was just a couple of friends that reached out to me into that period when I was in the toilet emotionally. And,
nobody knows
I've never had to doubt your friendship since the day we met.
Nobody knows about a divorce until you've gone through a divorce. Nobody knows about losing a cat until you've gone through losing a cat. Nobody knows what it goes through to losing a parent until you lose a parent. So you become empathetic. So as soon as somebody says to you, even if you fucking hate that person, Tom Rhodes, somebody comes to you and says that person lost their mother.
Changes everything.
You will call that person and go, hey, whatever problem we had between us, it's over for right now. I'm calling you to tell you I'm really sorry about your mother.
That's funny. I did that with Louis C.K. a few months ago. And I hadn't talked to the guy in years. And I heard his mom died. And I sent him a message and we traded some texts,
It's amazing that people, once you get written off in this town, you get written off. And I don't like that because my friends never wrote me off. Even when I was doing fucking time, they never wrote me off. But that's something that's taught. That's something that's taught to people from you. That comes from above. You know what I'm saying? Here, like I said, you work with a comedy guy takes you. You look at Ronda Rousey's rise. I heard there was a guy that went to Ronda Rousey. I don't know how true it is or not. And took pictures of her and helped her and promoted her. And
like her first manager, right?
Like her first manager did all this shit. And one day she fired him with a text message. Well, no wonder her career is over. Yeah, she might be wrestling and she might be rich, but she's got that stink that somebody genuinely tried to help her. And she spit in his face. That stink stays with you for a long time. That spit comes back to haunt you later on. So somebody went out of their way to get you started. 3 Yards came along and you dumped that guy, signed with 3 Yards, and that's it. People do that in this town all the time. Then they don't realize, it's so weird how I got into comedy to fucking do comedy, but I ended up becoming a man. By comedy, because comedy was like my religious belief. It helped me become a man.
That's how I feel. Comedy's my religion and my political party.
It's my religion.
Yeah.
It's my religion, and it's who, and I tell people all the time, it's not like me and Rogan talk every day about stupid shit. We don't. We really don't. 22 years. But when him and I get together, we just talk about the dynamic, which is comedy. What he's been doing, what's not working, how he's been doing it differently. There's a whole science to it. And even if our friendship is connected by that alone right there, like that bond we have, you and I have since day one. But I was talking about Babbitt. I remember one day Babbitt calling me back and going, hey, don't you want to work a week in my club? And I go, yeah, but we'll get to that when it's time. Because I treated bookers like girls. I treated bookers like you would treat a woman that wants you. You don't chase a woman that wants you. You give them a little bit, then you pull back and see where the pieces fall. And they'll come to you like fucking a pigeon comes to a fucking little worm. Because, it's like when you walk into a room and there's a hot chick there and you don't react to her, but 20 guys reacted to her. That chick isn't concerned about the 20 guys that reacted to her. She's concerned about why Tom Rhodes didn't look my way. Not that Tom Rhodes means anything, but that guy didn't look my way. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like that guy didn't go, wow, look at your tits. He just walked right past you and said, go fuck yourself. You got titties just like everybody else, you dumb fuck. So it's so weird how that works with comedy bookings, like, and just friendships and how you have to work bookers' relationships sometimes. Just call them up. Hey, what's going on? Nothing.
Well, I like what you said about, comedy taught you to be a man. And, you're empathetic. You're a great friend. I've never had to doubt your friendship. I had an incredible thing happen to me. A year ago at this time, my wife moved out New Year's Eve last year, not this one that just passed. So last December was really rough. I took my mom to Israel at the beginning of December last year, and then I was home for the holidays in Orlando. And I was flying back to Los Angeles on Christmas Eve. My flight was at 7 a.m. from the Orlando airport. And I'm checking in. I'm the first person in line. There's people with the Delta agents. And this guy comes up to me and he says, can my family and I cut in front of you? My brother just committed suicide. We have to get to Hawaii. And I turned around and I just saw this family destroyed. They were just crying, and the dad could barely stand up. His name is Dean. He's a fan of yours. Hello, Dean. And when I knew that feeling when my sister died of cancer. I didn't know a human being could cry that much. I had I would hyperventilating crying. I would be exhausted from crying so much, physically exhausted where I couldn't even stand up. And I saw this family, and I let them go through, and it just put everything into perspective for me. I'm going through a divorce. I thought I was having a hard time, feeling all sorry for myself. I'll never be loved again. And I see this family, and I knew instantly, I know that feeling. I've been there. And I realized going through a divorce isn't the worst level of pain you could experience. And I wouldn't even classify it as pain. It's an inconvenience. So I talked about it on my podcast, and this friend of mine that I grew up with, guy I played baseball with, Chuck Bowman, whose son is a fan of yours who listens to this show, he contacted me and said, hey, man, I know that family. The son was a soldier. He had PTSD, and he said, I know these people. So through my buddy Chuck, I got in touch with this family, with the dad. So last year, over the course of a year, we've traded emails and stuff. And then when I was just home at Christmas in Orlando, or Oviedo, I went and met this family. And it's a year later, they're doing much better. I mean, you'll never recover from something like that, I know. I'll never get over my dad and my sister's death. There's just degrees of better as time goes on. But I feel bonded to these people. I feel like they're my brothers. I feel related to these people, just because I feel like I somehow was in on this private family moment that was probably the worst day of their lives. I know the day my sister died was the worst day of my life.
It's so funny how I get emails.
And I text with them. The dad and the son.
You still do?
Yeah. I just met them.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel closer to these two guys than I do my own brothers, who are morons. So I feel I feel blessed to know these people, and they were all military people. They've all served. I'm from Oviedo, Florida. I graduated in '85. The dean, the father, he graduated from Oviedo in 1974. When I was there, it was a small citrus farming village. It was one traffic light and a tractor crossing, so I couldn't imagine.
This is Oviedo, Florida.
Oviedo, Florida. It's 17 miles east of Orlando. So it was a citrus farming town, and then Orlando expanded. They built a circular highway around Orlando, and now it's kind of like a highway exit. There's a Target and a Chili's and all that other suburban American shit. Yeah.
It's really funny how you meet people on the road sometimes who shock you also. You hear little stories on the road. I'm probably, in my phone, I probably have 20 people who I keep in touch with from the road that just touch you. Sometimes the road could be a fucking lonely place, and somebody just talks to you not even from a comedy perspective. And then they find out later you're a comic, and we get to talk, and they go, oh, my uncle likes you, or whatever the fuck it is. And you have this relationship with them for life,
Yeah.
I have the Lingus in Chicago, Bobby Sharon in Texas. You meet these people, and it adds so much pizzazz. Ookie Spooky in Texas. She's got my back. You got all these different people that we've met through the years, even through this fucking funny thing called the podcast and these wires.
Yeah.
And it's just, it teaches you a different degree of even on the internet, it teaches you a different degree of empathy. I would hate to go I felt when my cat died, I felt bad. And I really wanted to write something about Soup Bed and put him up. And the reach was overwhelming. People get it. People get that one line. I believe that you have to make somebody's day every day. That's the key to life. If you want a great life, forget about giving somebody money or sucking somebody's asshole. It's just making somebody smile once a day. A call. Just making somebody's day. Whatever it could be. Whatever it could be. Giving some... I instill it in my daughter. That's the most important thing of your day, is making somebody's day, and everything else falls into place.
I always say that. It's so easy to change somebody's life for the better. When I see like more famous comedians and like their fans will come on them, and they'll be like, give them the cold shoulder and stuff. I always find that ingratitude.
Well, there's two types of walking up on somebody also. There's 20 different, we could go on 20 different things according to that. Because years ago when we were kids, there was a thing with George Michael. George Michael went on public record and said, leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to talk to nobody. Don't fucking say hello to me. Just don't fucking say hello to me. I was a George Michael fan. Did I buy his music? I didn't buy his music. I like the videos, That's what you get, all that shit with the models and stuff. But I felt it, to be rude.
Yeah.
I felt it to be rude. I felt it to even be rude. Okay, so let's say you're not coming. Let's say I have a TV show. Let's say I was not a stand-up comic, and I have a TV show. And every week you can take a half hour out of your life to watch the show. I could give you a minute out of my life to say hello, how you doing, whatever. There's a thin line. But there's a thin line. How are you? Blah, 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 blah. If we're stuck in an elevator, hey, that episode about whatever really hit home with me. I just lost my mother. Okay, that's where it ends. That's great. I love people coming to the shows. And I love talking to people after the shows. It's the expectations. I can't be at a restaurant with my daughter and you come up to me and say, it's blue cheese with wings to go fuck your mother in front of my daughter. It's happened.
Oh, wow.
It's happened. You can't manhandle me. You know what I'm saying? Like, come up to me with 6 guys and go, yo, you motherfucker. I can't deal with that. There's always a place and a time for everything. And you have to decide as a human being, what's more important? Do I go up to Tom Rhodes, who I'm a fan of, at the airport online with 200 people waiting before you board a plane? Can I just come up to you and go, Tom, I love what you do. I heard John Whitney Cummings' podcast. That shit was funny. Or do you come up to me at 6 a.m. when I'm half mummified from the night before and want to ask me about episode 648 of Joe Rogan when I quoted that Ruben Blades was going to beat up Chi Ramirez in a game of fucking ping pong. And then they want to ask you for a picture on the line. There's 200 people here. You're going to blow up my fucking shit in front of 200 people at 6 in the morning when you know I'm a fucking stoner. You know I'm high as a kite. You know I'm going to get uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I've so many people, that's the type of shit that bothers me. Then you go to the shows. You go to these shows and you pull up around the back and there's these 6 geeks with everything you ever did.
Print it out.
And they want you to sign it so they can sell it on eBay.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to feel bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a different level of me feeling bad. I really don't mind giving them an autograph or 2. Hey, everybody needs $1. But these guys will sit there and just keep saying, can you sign this? Can you sign this? Can you sign? So if you sign one, you got to sign 20. You know, before a show last night, when you're at the Comedy Store, Tom Rhodes is on stage. Tom Rhodes is doing his best. I moved 2 feet over. Can I get a picture? I can't give you a picture because you're I'm disrespecting Tom Rhodes. If I walk through if I'm doing the Improv and Break and the show starts and Lee's hosting and I walk out into the front and a guy grabs me while Lee's on stage and he goes, can I get a picture? And I take a picture. That's disrespectful to Lee, even if I'm the headliner. That's Lee's 15 minutes. Who the fuck am I to take a picture in the showroom when Lee's on stage? Right. So there's different degrees of everything. You as the fan or my family member, as I call
I mean, that's showmanship etiquette. Like even when like a comedian will get off stage and then start talking with someone loudly in the back.
I want to fucking smack him in the mouth.
Yeah, I hate that.
I want to smack him in the mouth. Take the comic and take him downstairs and go around the fucking bin. And yeah, at the Comedy Store, we get loud in the hallway sometimes. Mm-hmm. We go off in the hallway sometimes, whatever. I catch myself and I try to keep it a little tame. You want respect, you have to give respect in this world. And when it comes to pictures and all that shit at restaurants and whatever, I've had people pay for meals for me. And I'll get up and walk over to their table, shake their hand, hug them, take a picture, and then I'll get the fuck out of there. But don't come over to my table yelling and screaming when I have my wife and my kids there.
Right.
It's just there's always a fine line that you, as the human being, has to decide on. You don't know how many times I've seen somebody who blows me out of the water like an actor or something. The last thing on my mind is asking them for a picture.
I was on an elevator with Lou Reed once, and I love Lou Reed.
Love him, yeah.
And I think that 1989 album, New York, I think probably saved my life when I was living in New York that year and struggling and everything. And I was on an elevator with him once, and I'm such a fan. Didn't say a word to him.
Didn't say a word.
Didn't bother him. Let him enjoy his 16 floors in silence.
Sometimes a wink is as good as a nod to a blind horse. Why?
I have that Faces album.
Why be like everybody else? Be original. Put your hand out and say, I really like what you do, man.
Yeah.
And sometimes they won't put their hand out. And now you just learned about the guy. You learned where he really stands. I've met 1,000 people that put my hand out and they'll put their hand. That's the end of the conversation. I don't even want a fucking picture because we were at the fucking airport. Because we're at a restaurant. Because, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If not, now I'm going to have 10 other people coming to take pictures of you.
I remember, so 6 years ago, January 1st, this year was when I blacked out and busted my head open in Philadelphia. And I haven't drank alcohol since then. And, it was like 2 years after my dad and my sister died where I had stopped drinking for pleasure. And I really started to get that alcoholic white guy booze face with the bulbous nose and everything. And when I busted my head open in Philadelphia, I was just so wasted. I blacked out and fell off this bar stool like a tree, busted my head open on the tile floor, had to go to the emergency room, and I got 6 stitches on my forehead, and I had a black eye. And I had to do this morning radio show the next morning. And I had to go. I got out of the emergency room. I had time to go to my hotel for probably 30 minutes before I had to go straight to this radio show. And I looked like a train wreck. And this girl who worked on the show, she goes, I'm a fan. Can we have a picture together? And I said, I would take a picture with you any day but today. I just can't do it today. I had the fucking Frankenstein stitches and a black eye. And, I just had this, huge, revelation in my life that I needed to fucking dial it back on the drugs and alcohol, and not the day for a picture.
No, it's just really weird how the whole picture thing has. I was a little upset a couple of weeks ago. I played a club and they charged $10 for pictures.
What?
And I found out afterward.
No club was it?
And I had, I don't want to embarrass them. And I had 800 people there. And, usually I like taking pictures of people. It's one show. I was like, why aren't people taking pictures? Because they were charging $10 a fucking picture.
Jesus.
So it kind of picks me off. You know, if it's in between, if I have two shows, what people seem to Fluffy got a lot of heat for this. Gabriel, because Gabriel stopped going out in between shows. He realized after 15 years it took too much energy from him to do the two shows. Once you talk to 1,000 people, then you got to rest for 10 minutes and then go back up there and do it all over again.
Right.
It's kind of tough. That's why this year I'm cutting it down to only one shows in theaters, so I could get back out there and talk to the people. I don't want to smoke pot with you. I don't want to shoot heroin with you, but I want to take a picture of you and see what's on your mind. You know, I've always enjoyed that, meeting new people and seeing what's on their mind.
I normally don't like going back, but something that what you guys were talking about at the beginning, where if you go through a divorce or you go through a death, it's hard. And the thing that struck me was how it's like it's always when you lose something. Has going through those things helped you live more in the moment, like to like appreciate stuff while you have it?
I mean, you realize your own mortality when you lose family members. I mean, every life just seems like this endless ribbon that keeps on flowing, and then, I mean, nobody's prepared to lose a parent or a child. It definitely, and then like it still took me a couple years. Like when I busted my head open, I realized that I was put on this earth to do great things, and the best way I could honor the memory of my father and my sister was by being the greatest comedian and greatest human being that I could possibly be. So I think it definitely sharpened the lens focus in that regard,
I tell you, when I see somebody on social media and I lost my parent or whatever, or somebody will hit me up and say, I lost a parent, it hurts, and I go, listen, you want to ease the pain? Here it is. Become the man or the woman that they wanted you to be.
Yeah.
If you become the man or woman they wanted you to be, the pain will disappear. I'm lying to you. It never disappears.
That's true, but I think you to a degree you're absolutely right.
It softens it.
Yeah, because you'll never get over something like that.
I just celebrated my mother's 40th. 40 years ago, we buried it November 8th.
Wow.
And honestly, it didn't hurt as much as I thought it would hurt. But pain plays with you. Pain plays with you. Pain hits you when you least expect it. It's like a toothache. You know what I'm saying? It's so it didn't hit me that whole week. I thought about it. I lit a candle. I prayed for her. I thought about the night she died. How, fuck, that was 40 fucking years ago. But then I realized something else. I made it 40 years without her. The day that I buried her, I'm like, I got about a year before I can make it without her. So I proved myself wrong. It was such a fucking, that's where the power comes from. There's a song by Lionel Richie called, I think he did it with the Commodores. It opens up, it's a piano thing, and he says...
Ceylon? Ceylon?
No, he says...
that's a piano opening.
A morning's just a moment away, but I'm with you once again. You laughed at me. You said you never needed me. I wonder if you need me now. It is the most gorgeous words you could hear in the beginning of a song. It's a piano thing, just a piano, and I remember that every time that I hear that song, I think about the emptiness I had in my stomach when my mother died, when I first got divorced. Mm-hmm. When I first got divorced, and you wake up in the morning and you're used to seeing that person next to you, it really does something to you.
Yeah, man. Like this time last year, I spent most days alone in my apartment crying.
Yeah.
And then my friend Joey Diaz called, Hey, Joey, how are you, man?
It's, I still remember waking up and just hearing that song. Here I am, I'm mourning again, and I'm without you once again. You know, opening the day with that line, brushing your teeth, jumping in the shower. And eventually the song went away. After like 4 years, I didn't hear the song in my head anymore. But it's just so, you know, and I also think pain piggybacks pain. So if you lose a sister in 2009, and just as you're starting to get over it, you lose your father in 2011.
Yeah, it was
like,
the other way around,
like
but that's exactly what happened.
It's like taking the scab off the thing.
I hadn't gotten over the death of my father yet.
You know? Didn't even get off the...
And I didn't think I could handle that. And then fucking my darling little sister. I'll tell you the thing, I don't look at it very much. I think that's cool, like that song gave you strength. You know, the Tupac song, Dear Mama, always helps me.
Oh, yeah.
If you can make it through tonight, there's a brighter day. I fucking love that song. But an odd thing, I don't look at it too much anymore. And sometimes the website sticks. And I don't know, I read about this. I think I was in England. I read about this. It's a website called morningbreakfastradio.com. And what they do on the website, there's a picture of the globe, and it shows where the sun is rising all around the world. And it says the sun is always rising somewhere. And what this website does, it's a radio thing, and it'll grab a half-hour snippets of morning radio shows or morning radio from all over the world. So like you could look at it any time of the day. Like right now, the sun is probably rising in Australia or Africa, and you go on there and you'll hear like one Sunday I listened to like a garden show in Perth, Australia. Another time I listened to it roll across Africa one day, and it's cool, man. And it's like a half hour, like because all these radio stations are streaming online now. So I don't know how they have it set up, but it grabs. So I always thought, like, if you're like in a really dark, fucked up place, it's a good concept to remember that, you know, it might be dark where you are right now, but the sun is rising somewhere in the world. I know that's kind of cheesy, but when you're in the toilet going through some difficult shit, it's good to remember that, you know, in Tahiti, people are going to work right now, or, you know, in fucking Morocco, they're starting to, you know, bang out the pita bread.
Lee's question before was interesting because he goes, does it put things into perspective? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You know, next Sunday night, they're having a thing at the store for Brody.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go to that.
Okay. You take a guy like Brody, okay, whether you were tight with Brody or you weren't tight with Brody, you didn't care for Brody or you loved Brody like I did. You look at a guy like Brody, you wake up at 8 in the morning, you got all the opportunities in the world, but you tend to turn the fucking TV on and sit there till 2 in the afternoon. Go fucking wake Brody up and ask him if he had the chance, if he'd wake up at 9 and sit in front of the TV till 2 o'clock. Go ask him. With what he just saw, the love and response he saw from heaven or wherever the fuck he is. Everything that goes backwards puts something into perspective for you, because you go, I could be doing something. You know, in the Cuban culture on Mondays, we light a candle for the people, and I have a spirit altar of all the friends I have that are gone, whether it's Carmine Balzano, whether it's Dominic Speciale, Anthony Balzano, Kurt DiLorenzo, Rago. I have a picture of all those friends of mine, my mother, my father, my friend's kid. I had a friend who her daughter was going to graduate on a Saturday and got killed in a drunk crash on a Thursday. They sent me the invite to the party. I got the invite as they were burying this girl. So I've always had her picture up. And my point is, every Monday, before the fucking day starts, before I do anything, I change water for them. I light a candle for them. And as I'm putting the glasses of water, I say, today I'm going to live for you.
Wow.
This week I'm going to live for you. I have a friend, a bodybuilder friend of mine, that all I got to do is look up, and there he is with 3 cats that are friends of mine. 2 of those guys are dead. 2 of those guys together were dead. One of them both of them from drugs. You know, and I sit there and I look at them and I go, today I got to live for them, for what they couldn't do. How lucky am I that I get the opportunity? And I did as many drugs as they did. In fact, I was with them a lot of nights. How lucky am I that I'm getting the opportunity to go do what I need to do today? But they're gone. So for today, I'm going to do it for them.
That's cool. You remember that movie Coco that came out a couple years ago about the Day of the Dead, that
that's
animated
what that
show?
is.
I loved that movie. And the whole thing about the photos of deceased people that you love. So because of that movie, I saw that. I only saw it like last year sometime. I took all these great photos I have of my dad and my sister, and I made I wouldn't call it a shrine, but I mean, I put them on this little wall next to my kitchen where my counter is, where I put my keys and all my business I got to take care of is right there.
Before you leave the house,
I see them every day.
You see them before you leave?
Every day. And
you see them when you come in. And you tap your hand on the table.
It gives me, I don't know, it just
gives you peace, inner peace. And
peace and power, and it reminds me make the most out of your life today.
Not to forget about those people.
Yeah.
That he had the picture up by midnight, or they were going to take him somewhere else, or he couldn't cross the bridge.
Yeah.
That's what it was, Coco, that they couldn't cross the bridge. I'm watching this, and
I loved that
I
film.
took my daughter.
I love that
She's
film.
loving it, but I'm seeing it from an adult perspective that I live under that rule. I live under that rule. For me to have light, I have to give light to the people before me. I think about my father every day, that poor bastard. I think about my mother, how the fuck she blew her life with alcohol and betting on the Mets. Who the fuck bets on the Mets? You deserve to die. You know what I'm saying? And that's my mother. I'm like,
86, that was a good bet.
Yeah, I'm like, Jen, no, she went down in flames in 73. She went down in that flame with Pete Rose, and the Cincinnati Reds went to New York, and Pete Rose ended up beating up Bud Harrelson.
Bud Harrelson.
That took her for her fucking life that time. So it's just, you look at those people, Lee, and you go, I'm living for that motherfucker today. Josh Adam Myers is going to be on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Josh Adam Myers is a nice kid. I really like him, We're not super tight. But you know why I love the fuck out of him?
He's a survivor.
Because he dedicated his life changed when Angelo died.
Who's Angelo?
Angelo was his best friend.
Oh.
And 8 or 9 years ago, I guess, were they in the car together?
Yeah, they were they were open micers together, and a drunk driver hit their car.
Okay, and killed Angelo, and he lived.
Wow.
This kid was on a fucking mission. I have to respect somebody like that.
Yeah.
Josh Adam, whatever his name is. Myers will always have
good kid. Love his voice. Got such a great voice.
He'll always have a chair at my table because he did something that a lot of people don't do. And I remember when I did his goddamn jam, I pulled him aside and I go, Angelo's watching down on you, dog. You're making him fucking proud. I might be mad at Josh Adam Myers, but my respect level, because he turned his life around and said, I'm not doing this for me.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for Angelo. This is what Angelo fucking wanted. And there's certain people who do that and do it with a fucking word on their chest. And you have to respect those people. And that's what I've done. That's what I do a one-man show at the Comedy Store, and that's what the theme is. That I'm doing this. I did this. My mother had one fucking thing for me. Yeah, she wanted me to be in the Army, and she wanted me to be an attorney. That was great. But the main thing she wanted me to be was to be a man. What does a man do? Does he beat up people? Does he have 50 girlfriends? No. There's a certain way a man acts. There's a certain way a man presents himself. There's a certain way a man talks about or to people. That's what she wanted out of me. Well, it took me 50 years to get there, but I got there.
Yeah.
Do you understand me? It took me 50 years.
I wonder if my dad and my sister, if they'd have lived, if I would still be fucking up. And I don't know. Maybe they died so I could have this life change. I don't know.
Well, the thing, there's people who let things go by them, and there's people who take every sign and do something with it. Mm-hmm. God gives you signs every day. He gives you stupid fucking signs every day. When I say God, I'm lying to you. The universe. Whoever it is, Gandhi, Muhammad, who's the other guy that white people like?
Buddha?
No, that's Chinese. What's the one?
Justin Bieber?
Chow Ming, whatever they say. Roll with it. Everybody's got a philosopher. My philosophy is the universe. The universe will give you the signs you need. Little by little, they'll give you the signs, and you'll see them, miss them, and then you'll go, fuck. He told me 2 weeks ago on that stop sign, that bum said, vote Andrew Yang. I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I went with Joe Biden. I should have voted with Andrew Yang. The black guy in the corner told me to. You get signs. And you see him sometimes in movies with a director or show you an actor getting a sign from something. Just from something, you know. Rocky, when he goes that night to the arena and he sees that his shorts, he says to the promoter, hey, look at the fucking shorts. They're wrong. My shorts are red with blue. These are blue with red. The promoter looks at him, takes a puff off his cigar, and he goes, does it really matter? We know you're going to give him a good fight. That little sentence made Rocky almost kill Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
He almost killed him. He almost fucking, you know.
What's the speech Rocky gives in Rocky 4 to Dolph Lundgren at the end? Do you remember?
Tremendous.
In the ring?
Tremendous. About how come if two guys can't get together, why can't
our countries
get together?
If I can respect you, and you can respect me.
And then he did a good one at the end of Rambo.
That's a great speech he gives at the end.
Dog, everyone at the end of Rambo. Because America, if how come America doesn't love it as, you know, America doesn't love us as much as we love it. You know, all those little things made you leave the movie theater like, I'm going to beat up a motherfucking Spanish dude. I'm going to go beat up one of them third world nation. He's got a new one out that I really want you to watch it.
I want him to make Cobra too.
The one?
Remember, God loved Cobra, and he had the matchstick.
That was
in his
god
teeth.
awful.
And he had, but that fucking car he had, it was like a 1948 Ford.
That was god awful. That was a lot of cocaine involved.
I think it's his best film.
Somebody gave him like a pound of coke and said,
That's Stallone's best film. And,
really?
I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
But no, I do love that movie because he looked so cool. And that car was so badass.
The blonde, the whole thing. I just hated that whole thing. That whole thing was just...
Oh, yeah, didn't he have his wife in that?
Yeah, that's why. There was cocaine involved and blowjobs and asshole eatings, and, you know, they left him alone.
Who knew she was going to end up with Flavor Flav at that point?
Yeah, at the end. And now she just had a baby.
Oh, you're kidding me. She's like in her 50s.
Yeah, she just had a kid. She did something miraculously, went to like Spain, and they got that fucking bullhorn sperm over there.
I need to take a quick pee.
Go ahead, go take a little fucking pee-pees. You know what I'm saying? You need a pee-pees. Yeah, we got a great weekend this week. I forgot to tell you guys, me and George Perez will be up in Bakersfield Friday night at the Fox Theater. I think the Tower Theater is already sold out. And then January 25th, my friend and I, Steve D. Simone, will be in Atlanta at Tabernacle Theaters for the second show. The first show's all sold out. Second show's at 9:30. And there you have it. So don't ask me about the fucking dates later because I don't know. I'm lucky I remember this shit now. It's Monday the 13th. We're just trying to fucking keep this year together. A lot of weird things happened this week in the NFL. That was, that's why I tell you motherfuckers, you never see a bookie with a part-time job. Nobody expected to see Tennessee beat New England at home. Sorry, Lee. And then go into fucking Baltimore.
No, they're too good. I mean, you can't
smack the fuck out of them.
Have you seen how big that running back is?
No, it's too much.
He's
it's
a
too
monster.
much. So this is why I'm saying to you, if you haven't done anything with my bookie, start having some fun. This might be the weekend for you.
I tell you, I never bet. I mean, it was never my thing. But there's certain sporting events that you can't avoid. I'm nuts about the World Cup. So the last World Cup, I bet $100 on France to win, and then my mother's from Argentina, so I put $100 on Argentina, and France won, and I won like $600. Couldn't believe it.
Where'd you put the bet in with?
I was at the MGM.
Okay.
In Vegas.
You still traveling?
Not as much as I was. You know, I'm doing about only 1 or 2 weeks a month on the road. I just did. I was home in Orlando at the Improv. I'm going to Europe in June, and other than that, I'm just focusing on LA and New York and staying in the States.
Did you keep your status left this year? Or did you?
No, actually, this is the last month. They send me down to platinum.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I just can't do it anymore. I'm getting older. My body's to be on all these
How old are
flights.
you now?
On Tuesday, I will be 53.
53 this Tuesday, tomorrow.
Yeah. The 14th. Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, my brother.
What do you feel at 53? I'm just curious. I did something in December that it stayed with me for 3 days. I ate Thanksgiving with my family, had a great day with them, got on the red eye, went to Fort Lauderdale, did 4 shows in Miami, flew back Sunday, and then that Wednesday took another 6 a.m. flight to New York. It was a 6-hour flight. Did the town hall, did 2 shows, took a train to Boston, and then flew back from Boston. It took me 3 days to recover. I mean, I still did the podcast. I was still a dad.
It's hard, man.
And I still went to the store on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
But Thursday was when I finally felt like, woo. And I still lifted on Monday. I still did all my regular activities. It just felt a little bit fucking heavier. Like, it was like, wow, what do you feel it now? Are 2 flights a week getting to you yet, back to back?
I mean, it is, because I've been, I've been flying so much. The last couple of years, especially, I came out with that new album last year called Around the World, and I recorded it in 24 cities around the world. Starts in Paris, ends in Jerusalem. So
Brilliant.
The last couple of years, I was obsessed with making this album, and I was obsessed with hitting that diamond status on Delta, which also, my wife decided she didn't want to travel anymore. So that kind of was when we, started to lose our connection and everything. But it takes a lot out on your body, I got back and neck problems, and I just can't do it like I used to. And I want to focus. And also, I did a tour of England last year. I did England, Ireland, and Scotland, a really great tour, and I recorded those shows. So I'm going to come out with another album in a couple months, probably called The Honky Motherland from that tour. But I mean, I've focused so hard on the international stuff for the last however many years. I really want to focus on the States. I'm loving living in Los Angeles. I've got a new girlfriend. She's 25. I'm 53. I never wanted to be the divorced guy with the younger girlfriend, but I'm not complaining. And I'm like really happy in my life. And I love, like we talked about, comedy's my religion. It's my political party. It's all I give a shit about. I don't care about anything else. I'm
switching it up this year. I'm doing the road till May. I'm doing stand-up till May. I'm doing an all-Spanish show.
Oh, you told me that.
May
I can't believe
17th, me no speak English in Miami on a Sunday night, 2 shows, 7 and 9.
Wow.
And in June and July, I'm going to just do a storyteller tour. That's it. 4 shows, 1.5 hours of stories.
Do you think that'll be your next special? Will be all stories?
No. I just want to switch it up, because if not, I'll shoot myself.
Yeah.
August, I've got a San Diego date. There's something I want to go see in August. The last 2 weeks of August, why travel? I'm not competing with vacationers and kids.
Right.
And then September, I got to hit it heavy the first week. The Soprano movie comes on the 25th. I got a couple dates with Joe. I got Philly. But then I'll do stand-up again. Instead of, what I want to do is put what I'm doing now onto a CD. Get it out of the way. That's it. It's been 6 months I'm doing this fucking material, adding to it, blah, blah, blah. Let's get rid of it. Let's down this fucking thing. Start from scratch this week. And then have hopefully 20, 30 by May. Give it a breather again. I'm trying to write this one-man show, which I perform at the store, the 3rd Wednesday of every month. I do segments of it because I'm trying to cut it down to 2 hours.
In which room?
Belly room. I mean, this one-man show could...
I got to come see
I could keep you there for 22 hours. I'll fucking put IVs in everybody, and I'll do Chappelle. I got my life story goes 22 hours, and God forbid I take.
It's an epic story.
If I take a left turn, so what I'm doing is I'm writing all this shit for this one man show, but obviously I'm not gonna be able to use it. I got to get to the meat and potatoes of this one man show for me to start working it out. I think after the Comedy Store, I'll pick a little 99-seat theater in L.A. Something 99-seat, Red Hound, Lancashire, where we bumped into each other when we went to see the Lenny Bruce.
Oh yeah.
That, like something like that.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not looking to break the bank. I'm looking to
Artistic expression.
do different things.
Yeah.
At 57 years old. I got into this because I liked John Leguizamo's specials, but I bought all of them. Like I have Spicorama on book, and they just put out Latin for Morons. I'm not insulting John Leguizamo, but it's the same shit he put out 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure at this point I could put a way better one-man show out, and he's got it at Studio 54 at $200 a ticket. Yeah. I don't even want to charge $200 a ticket. I just want to tell my story at a small theater in New York every fucking Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever, just to have a little residency. I want to do something different, man.
Yeah.
I want to do something outside the box. I love the podcast. I'm never going to not do the podcast because you not having your word out there on a weekly just hurts you. You got to get out there every week and let them know whatever you're feeling, negative, positive, whatever the fuck you're feeling, because maybe they're feeling the same thing too, you know? And you go through it together through a fucking wire. Look at this. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
I know what you're saying, though. I think I might have talked to you about this, but I've been, I'm almost finished with this book, and it was inspired by the Around the World album. And it's all my relationship to all these different cities around the world. And it's my best stories of traveling around the world, like almost drowning in Thailand. I'm almost finished with writing about taking my mother, my 80-year-old Jesus freak mother, to Jerusalem last year. That'll probably be the last chapter in the book. And so sometime later this year, I want to do something like that, do an hour one-man show that are just my stories of traveling around the world.
That's it.
So I want to publish the book first and then do it. And like you're saying, I'm not even thinking of turning it into a moneymaker. I'm thinking of doing it in small little theaters just to do something different.
Just to do what it is. I'm 57, February 19th.
And we got to record these stories for posterity.
I don't know. I'm doing an audio boom book. I am doing an audio book. We're just working on the details right now. I'm very excited to do this because there's no reason for me to have a hardcover book. Barnes & Noble, Elvis is dead and Barnes & Noble ain't doing that good anyway. It was a dream of mine to see a book of me on a shelf, but I'm not a good writer. I don't have the patience to write. I don't know about TV anymore.
Yeah.
It's got to be the right fucking gig. And I'm very happy where I am. Right now I'm in the process of, I'm trying to raise a 7-year-old girl to get her ready for this fucking avenue of doom that I put her on, If I would have known the world wasn't going to be in this shape, I wouldn't have shot a load at nobody. I would have shot a load in the fucking pillow. But, you got to get your kids ready for today's world. It's a different fucking world. So
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do, Tom Rhodes, And it's great that, think of how many guys we started with and we had long talks with and they told us about this and this. These guys are out of the business or not to put anybody down on a cruise ship, or they're doing something completely out of their realm, which they started doing because now they have to fucking pay a mortgage. And I'll tell you something, being a slave to a mortgage or being a slave to your fucking things you own, that's a horrible way to live. I'd rather fucking live, keep the nut low, keep everybody low, keep everybody happy, and that's it. That's why I'm at this point in my life. I'm just looking, 70 is the new 50. We still have 13 years on this mic. I know I do. There's going to be pieces of hair falling off. My nose is going to look like Artie Lang's. You know what I'm saying? My head's going to be all fucked up. But I'll still be here doing this podcast with an IV on because I don't give a fuck. I'll be doing live. I'm here with the, I'm like the pedophile with the voice box. You ever see a pedophile with a voice box and shit? Come here, I'm gonna give you some candy. Then he goes in his pocket, it's batteries from the voice box. It's a fucking nightmare.
You're still gonna be doing acid and taking. You're probably gonna put stuff in the IV.
I really don't. It just age is just a number. And
I popped into the Comedy Store last month, and John Waters was doing a show in the main room, and apparently he does a show there once a year. I love John Waters, and I talked to him afterwards
2 Thursdays ago.
Yeah,
maybe 2 Thursdays ago, because I was like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it either.
And I the show.
How old is he now?
70, because I know this or 71, because he wrote a book about 4 or 5 years ago about hitchhiking across America from Baltimore to San Francisco. John Waters, and I read it, and he's like, people are like, "Are you John Waters? Or you look like John Waters?" And he's like, pretty distinctive looking cat with his, Boris
Maradov.
Yeah, the mustache. I said, "Hey man, I love that book," and he said, "I just wrote another book about doing acid at 70." So that's what his new book is about.
Doing acid at 70. Mm-hmm. That must be very interesting.
I haven't done acid in years. Jesus.
The couple times I've done the acid that's run through me, it's been good acid, but it hasn't taken me over
to the spot. Yeah.
Open that door. I'm going to go pee.
I can't imagine doing the acid that you did then, because I've done it with you a couple times and it drives me crazy. I was wondering, Tom, did you watch that PBS thing, the Mark Twain thing about Chappelle?
I did. It was brilliant. I just saw it a couple nights ago.
I thought it was really great.
And I saw Neil Brennan last night, and I told him how incredible I thought he was on it.
Oh yeah, I thought it was very inspiring. I thought it was cool the way, because like you guys were talking how not everyone has a great reputation, and everyone loved him. And then just the speech he had at the end about how it's an art and how. And all that I thought was just very inspiring.
I'm glad you brought that up, because he said, I may not agree with every practitioner of this genre, but I know where they're coming from. They have an idea. They want to be understood. They want to be heard. I thought that speech was beautiful.
Yeah, it was. And then him having his mom there. Like I just hit 2 years, and I was saying when I was watching that, I teared up a little bit because Joey had let me open for him a year ago in the Wilbur Theater, which was my growing up in Boston was like the biggest theater.
Yeah.
And I said a joke that I had never said ever again, and I've never said before, and I won't never say again. And I heard my mom laugh. Like I just like that gift that Joey gave me was pretty amazing. Like having that memory of my mom laughing in the Wilbur Theater.
Your mom seeing you at the Wilbur Theater in Boston.
It's like. As much as like this is fun and all that, it is pretty amazing what it gives us. Like, and I'm brand new at it. I'm nowhere near anywhere you guys are.
Well, I had the greatest. I did this tour of Israel, and you have to be squeaky clean to do this tour. And I only had to do 20-minute sets. I was really nervous about it. I was like thinking of old jokes and like, it turned out not to be a problem. But the last gigs on the tour were in Jerusalem, and I brought my mother over there with me. We flew over a week early, and just to give her that experience, huge, Jesus woman who's prayed for me her whole life. And then the best shows of that entire tour were in Jerusalem, and this beautiful theater, like modern theater. And there was like a 7 p.m. show for the older people, and then there was like a 10 p.m. show for the younger people. And my mom sat in that audience and got to see me destroying the city where Jesus did his best work. That's probably one of the proudest moments of my life.
It's pretty cool.
And then when I was worried about the clean material, it wasn't a problem. It's like when I travel around the world to different countries. Usually what you lose in reference, you gain in observation. So like I had these great stories about just my experience with my mom in Jerusalem or in Israel. Like, I told the story on stage in Jerusalem. It's on my album on the Jerusalem track where, When I was 16 years old, I was dumped by my high school sweetheart. And my mother and I had to walk around Lake Charm in Oviedo, Florida, hundreds of times before I even started to feel a little bit better. And then here we were 35 years later, walking along the Mediterranean Sea in Tel Aviv, reliving this exact same moment because I was going through my divorce. And I realized at that moment that I think my mother is the love of my life. And you should have heard this audience, especially the older audience, at 7 p.m. in Jerusalem, just go, oh, you know. So, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Did you get to watch that, Joey, the PBS thing that Chappelle did?
No.
It was pretty interesting.
It's brilliant, and it's great. He did a set at the Improv in D.C. the night before, the way they cut in that, and like old performance footage of him. I thought it was PBS knocked it out of the park with that.
I know he accepted an award, the Mark Twain.
The Mark Twain Award, which that's the Pulitzer Prize for a comedian. You know, the first comedian ever to win the Mark Twain Award was Richard Pryor. You know, and they do it at the Lincoln Center. It's a big deal. And I love the fact that he honored Tony Woods. And you know, do you know Tony? I've known Tony. Tony's such a beautiful guy in the business. And everybody said forever that, you know, Chappelle learned how to do stand-up from him. And Chappelle takes the moment to say in the thing, Miles Davis was copying Dizzy Gillespie, and if I'm Miles Davis, I was copying you. You know, you were the first comedian I ever saw who was doing it right, the way it was supposed to be. You were honest and fearless, and you know, it's really great. And
it makes you really when I got into comedy, the level I thought I was going to make it to was the level of the comics that couldn't make it because of their alcohol and their drug abuse problems. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's 1,000 of those guys
I know, yeah.
on the road that, you know, they just travel to get high and that's it. They think if you live in LA and you're gay, if you play the improvs, you're a corporate sellout. They have an excuse for every level of what you do in comedy, except for what they're doing. Meanwhile, they're playing like Moonchuck's Comedy Room and fucking bumfuck. And it's just, like I'm honored to be where I'm at right now. Like nobody's more grateful than I am.
I feel the same way.
I know exactly who the fuck I am.
I'm not the most famous, but I'm so grateful for what I have.
I know exactly who the fuck I am and where I came from. So when they're calling my name up to go in the original room, I'm like, oh my God, did I bullshit my way through this one? You know, like, I know who the fuck I am. That's why I've never caught on to none of this shit. I never, I watched the Kevin Hart thing on Netflix. I love Kevin. Wouldn't want to be Kevin.
I wouldn't. I've watched it too. It says,
wouldn't want to be Kevin.
Wow.
That's a different life of comedy that I liked. I told you last night, my utopia for comedy was living at the Chelsea, shooting heroin, doing comedy in between strippers like Lenny Bruce. When I read that, I go, I could accept that. There was no TV there. There was no Friends. I didn't want to be Seinfeld. That had nothing to do with all that shit. How I ended up here and whatever's completely different.
Yeah.
But that's where my head is at as a comic.
Well, I told you I had that experience because Mitch Hedberg lived at the Chelsea 98 to 2000 when I was living in Wall Street.
How long has Mitch been dead for now?
He died in 2005, so it's 15 years now. March. He died in March. It'll be 15 years in March. So Hedberg was one of my best friends in that period. And we'd done a ton of coke at the Chelsea. If we weren't at the Chelsea, we were at my Rockstar apartment in the Wall Street area. It was after my sitcom. I had tons of cash. And just, he had like 2 guitars in his room at the Chelsea. We'd sit up all night, drinking and sniffing. And or we'd be down in Wall Street at my place playing music and dancing on furniture, bringing people back that we met after the shows and stuff. It was a lot of fun. So I had that Chelsea hotel drug experience.
How did it look back then?
It was great, man, because, they had all this, like...
Did they redo it with it?
No, it was still gritty. I mean, there were some rooms that were nicer than others. We got invited to some other people's rooms that were, there was some bigger suite rooms on the higher floors. But, all in the lobby and up down the staircase were all these fantastic paintings by, artists who had lived there that couldn't pay their rent, that gave them art, and just so much great artistic history there.
It's been quite a ride, huh, brother?
Yeah.
And it doesn't end. I mean,
I feel like I'm moving into the best period of my life and in my comedy now.
So am I. It's so crazy.
Because I know I've had so much experiences and I have so much wisdom and knowledge now, that I didn't have.
So am I. It's so weird how I learned so much about life. When I came in, Lee was talking about that he went up at the Wilbur Theater, in front of his mom, and it was great. And this year I was going to do the other theater, the Chevrolet Theater, and I thought real hard. I go, am I going to take Lee with me? And I thought about it really hard, and then Lee came to me and asked, am I going with you? And then he goes, because Steve Simone. And I go, I don't want to take you to that theater anymore. And I felt really guilty about it, because I know it would be his time to see his mom, and I want him to see his mom. But I want Lee to see the journey I felt. I didn't do theaters at the 2-year mark. Nobody took me to a fucking theater.
Yeah.
Nobody took me to a theater till the 7-year mark, and I fucking died a slow death. I think Lee needs to see the journey of this, because it'll help him with all the other areas of his life, And I think that's what this comedy career for me was. It was a whole therapeutic 25 years. It took me to find out who the fuck I was and what my voice was about and what I really wanted. That's hard. It's really hard to look at yourself in the mirror and go, what do I really want? And like a friend of mine said, you got to write it down 7 times and then give yourself the answer. Now is what. And it wasn't me writing it down 7 times. That's a great way of doing it. It was taking the journey. This is a journey, man, and the comedy journey is the manhood journey or the womanhood journey or the story of the woman that has to adjust to live in a man's world to do fucking comedy, like Whitney Cummings and all the great female comics have had to cut their pussies off or put Scotch tape over it or Scotch tape their own dick to do comedy. And that's what I want for Lee. It wasn't that I didn't want to take him with me. It's that I want him to see this journey that I saw. This journey that I saw, you have to see. You have to see this journey that I saw to appreciate that 915 spot.
Yeah, exactly.
The Comedy Store.
Have you ever read Joseph Prince, The Hero with 1,000 Faces?
No.
Apparently, George Lucas took a lot of this guy's teachings and put it into the original Star Wars. That's why it's got this. The story is broken down the way it is. But so this guy, he was a mythology expert, an ancient culture expert. This guy studied stories from ancient Greek theater, studied all the religions, theater, the history of theater up to contemporary cinema, ending with the movie Star Wars. So The Hero with 1,000 Faces basically says that everyone we ever considered a hero in the Bible, in stories, in movies, in any kind of situation, in storytelling, the story of the hero always has a similar pattern. The hero was on his way, on his journey, rising up, and then something knocked him down that he had to overcome, him or her, and had to rise, had to overcome some major setback or some major heartback or even death in Jesus's story. That everyone we ever considered a hero never went straight up to the top all the way. People who rise and never deal with problems aren't people we consider heroes. It's always the people who overcame some major fucking setback in their journey to rise back up. So I think you're absolutely right.
Listen, this journey of being a comic taught me how to be a comic, but it taught me how to be a man.
I agree. Me too.
It taught me how to be a real man. Then I became the comic, and then everything smoothened up. I was noticing last night at the Comedy Store, there's no negative energy up there no more. You walk in the hallway, you see Chris D'Elia talking to Whitney.
Yeah.
To somebody else, you hug them, you're giggling. And
it's exciting, man. I like studying the masters and seeing what other people are doing.
It's just an exciting time. Listen, man, I'm happy you took the time out to come on up today and share your beautiful fucking
I love you with all my heart, Joey Diaz.
I love you with my heart. What do you got coming up?
And thanks for being my friend.
Yeah,
you know,
always.
Especially last year when I was going through my divorce,
Always,
man.
bro.
You know, anybody can be a good friend when everything's happy.
Hey, man, if you want good friends, you got to be a good friend. And that's the fucking moral of today's Monday morning podcast, January 13th, 2000.
The day before my birthday.
Before you, what do you got planned for your birthday, my friend?
I
Spot at the store.
Yeah, that would be the best possible
that's
birthday.
We'll just see you at the store tomorrow.
I'll be at the store.
We'll be at the store.
And I'll be everywhere, all over America this year.
I think Comedy Chaos is next week. Yeah, no, I'm on Comedy Chaos this week with Triple E, and tonight I'm down there. You down there tonight?
If you're going there,
I'll be down there tonight. Yeah. I'm always down there on whatever. Listen.
Well, yeah, we didn't get to talk about Bikram yoga. I thought that was funny.
Let's go. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about.
Well, that was great. You talked about that documentary that showed
disgust bag that he is. Show the disgust bag that he is.
15 years ago, when I was living in L.A., I was doing Bikram yoga. There was a bunch of comedian friends of mine that were into it, and I don't like to exercise, but it was like, full of it. It's hot. It's in 100 degrees. You're sweating your balls off. I enjoyed it. I did I did it at what was the headquarters, and he came in and taught a class once because Indian television from India was filming him, and it was a really small class, and some LA dude in the class pours water on his head, and the guy Bikram yells at him, "What are you doing in my?" On the guy, I when I pulled in, I saw him pull in at the same time in his Rolls Royce, and he starts grandstanding in front of the television cameras for India. "What are you doing? Wasting water, pouring water on your head. In my country, people have to walk 10 miles to get some more fresh water." And he was just totally doing it for the television cameras. And I'm thinking, well, why don't you sell the rolls and build a fucking viaduct that could get fresh water to your village that you abandoned? It was like kind of pretentious LA stuff, but like they say in that documentary, it was a great exercise, and it was their ancient yoga poses, and just for the stretching of the spine. Most people get back problems as they get older. I wouldn't mind getting back into some kind of yoga just to twist the spine around.
No, it's good for you. It's just the way he took over L.A. He took over L.A. like Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, it was like you were talking before. There was people that wouldn't call him out. And here's liberal L.A. females and feminists there. And like that guy was,
Well, that's the home to those fucking knuckleheads. See, that's the home. See, I got approached by them at a party where a chick said to me, it's not just the exercise. He touches you inside. And I remember looking at her going, you're fucking retarded. But if you notice, everything in L.A., everything in Hollywood is, listen, let me get this out of the way right now for you motherfuckers, just so you know what time it is. When New York sneezes, everybody catches a cold. The party comes out of New York. Don't ever let that mistake you at all. The party started in New York, and the party's always going to be in New York. LA's got this different thing. The other day I saw, Marky Wahlberg credits his body to Jumpin' Jacks and F45. So what's F45? F45 is a new circle of schools around the country where they're doing it completely different. Like, for years we've been doing it right. Now we're doing it wrong. So now, because Marky Wahlberg is doing it, there's probably 1,000 people going up there.
Yeah.
You got to see this shit, Resistance Day, Rainbow Day, Flower Day. We go in phases. When I got here in 97, it was Taibo. everybody was kicking on the streets. Even if you went into 7-Eleven, there was a Hindu back there throwing Taibo lessons for $2 a morning. What happened to Taibo? What happened to Taibo? We are the suckers for everything here in L.A.
Yeah.
We are suckers. And now New York has that type of civilization, that young wanna LA be, so they'll get it. They'll get it too, and they'll pay $285 a month when they could just go to the Y and do $44 and take all the classes and get the same benefits they got from 045. You always, it's so weird. Like I don't go to the gym. I'm trained. Yeah, because you want to be different than everybody else. That's all actors ever want to do, is show you how they're different. Well, Jennifer Lopez's body, I wonder who her trainer is. The same one that's in your town. Same fucking idiot. Don't eat and do jumping jacks. That's Jennifer Lopez's fucking thing, okay? You know what I'm saying?
There was a very effeminate instructor at that Bikram headquarters years ago. He wasn't the main guy. There was another guy that was
right.
There.
Yeah.
I only saw Bikram teach the thing once. But like some of these people, it's hot, so people barely wear anything. So some people would go in and only wear underwear. And this very effeminate Indian instructor one day goes, I just want to say, like in the middle of the class, he goes, I just want to say, some of you men who insist on coming in here in your underwear, what is that? This is a holy sanctuary, and it should be respected as that. You there in the Calvin Klein striped underwear, do you think we want to see that? I'm gay, and I don't want to see that. I thought it was so hilarious how this fucking guy just chopped off this dude's head. Right.
I would have raised my hand and said, you're full of shit there, lottery man. All right? Listen, you're full of shit. That's prime fucking asshole for you right there. You know what I'm saying? You're a stinky fucking lottery ticket salesman. And that's a nice little white guy with a tight asshole. And you're telling me you're offended? Go fuck yourself. They're all a bunch of fucking liars at the end of the week, these fucking lottery salesmen. How can they find you, dog?
Oh, at _ Tom Rhodes on Instagram, tomrhodes.net, and buy my album Around the World.
You'll be around the store next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I'll be around. Yeah, I'm around a lot the next couple of months.
I can't wait to fucking see you around. You're good. When you're around, it takes the fucking ego level down at the store. You know what I'm saying?
You're right about the good vibe, man. It's really
it's been
really
a great
special
vibe.
there.
It's been a great vibe there the last 4 years. They got rid of everybody that was a fucking shithead. Everybody that would go in there and look at Tom Rhodes and go, why is he here? Like that. Those type of people. We're here because we're comics, bitch.
Yeah.
It was even great to see, because me and Neil got into it for a while. He would break my balls. He would go, are you going to use structure tonight, or are you just going to go up there? And, so then I would go to him, Neil, teach me structure. When are you going to teach me how to do structure? I don't know nothing about nothing, And even him last night, I gave him the biggest hug and picked him up and kissed him. And told him you never invited
And he doesn't like to touch people.
No.
So I thought it was cool that you guys hugged when he brought you on.
I don't give a fuck.
He's a potato guy,
fuck him.
not a handshake guy.
He's no show. He's got no chance. With me, we're in the hugging business now. I don't have that much time left in the world. These hugs count. You ever have my daughter give you a hug? You gotta come over to the house, have my 7-year-old give you a hug.
I'd love it.
All your problems will disappear. They all disappear for 3 minutes. You go, what the fuck is this hug about? That's what I'm looking forward to, going home and getting a fucking hug. Anyway, so most importantly, I want to thank you motherfuckers for always having our back. Do not forget Friday night, Bakersfield with George Perez. Fresno, the tickets are sold out. It looks like you got on a bicycle and taking a ride to Bakersfield. If not, you're fucked, all right? That's it and that's that. We'll be back Thursday morning ready to rock and roll with you motherfuckers. I want to thank my brother Tom Rhodes. I want to thank the Christ Killer. But most importantly, I want to thank you motherfuckers. And don't forget, Atlanta, 25th of January, 9:30 show. There's still some tickets left. Take the drive. I don't give a fuck. It's a snow. Take a chance. Columbus did. get a bottle of blackberry brandy and get out there in the snow and see where it takes you. Some of you might end up in a snow embarkment, and the other ones will end up with a DUI. But what the fuck are you doing with your life anyway? A couple of nights in the pokey builds character. I love you, motherfuckers. Thank you very much for listening. See you on Thursday morning. Stay blessed.